It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back in, Cougar Sports Saturday. Here on your legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio. Coming to you live from Holiday Oil for Sinclair's first ever Dino Day, 8325 North Burton Drive in Lake Point. Just out here in Tooele out west. Take I-80 west, get off the Tooele exit, swing on by, and you'll see us. We got the KSL News Radio van, the CR10 outside here, the Holiday Oil. So come on by and celebrate Dinosaur Day and get up to 30 cents off per gallon of gas. This week I was down in Dallas for the Big 12 spring business meetings, and I caught up with BYU AD Tom Holmoe. Man, we had a lot to discuss with Tom. And, well, I started things off by just simply asking what was the mood at the Big 12 meetings this week.
I love the camaraderie in the room. We have presidents, ADs, senior women administrators, and faculty athletic reps. That's kind of the group that runs the business of the conferences, especially here in the Big 12. And I know a lot of people, a lot of times in the room with the president, the commissioner and the ADs. Commissioner Yormarks, he's always on the go. There's always something coming up. He's got an idea about a lot of things, and he's got great creative strategies. So I love the fact that we're still running fast. He never sleeps, never rests, keeps the athletics directors and presidents busy. And we had some great things to talk about to keep this league moving forward.
I was going to ask you about Brett because he just completed his second year, so that energy, that kind of like forward thinking remains with Brett Yormark as he settles into this role.
No question. I think his background has prepared him really well for this, even though he doesn't have really a great collegiate sports experience. He has great professional experience working with the Nets and running that facility, and I think that he's just made for this conference and for college athletics.
You bring up the Nets, and I think of the NBA, and I can't help but I wanted to ask you about Kevin Young again, because has that hiring of him, has it kind of been a buzz at all within the AD circle, or like, hey, how'd you pull off that hire?
You know, that's a good question, Mitch. I think that most of the athletic directors keep abreast of the information at the other schools, particularly in football and basketball coaches. And so there were a few people that talked to me about KY being hired, and I talked about some of the guys that I saw come in at transfer portal or big signings. So, like I said earlier, it's a great camaraderie, and we talk about a lot of things, and it's super competitive in basketball, as you're talking about it, and all the other sports.
What did you learn in year one of Big 12 basketball, and how do you feel Kevin Young's program can thrive in this league that's 9 out of the last 11 years been the number one league in the country?
I think anybody that watched the Cougars this year saw that the team was very well prepared this offseason, and they stepped in ready to go emotionally and physically and mentally. And I think that as teams from the Big 12 came into the Marriott Center, they could see that it was a tough place to play and that our team was better than they expected. And then I think our team went on the road and won some games, which was surprising to the teams in the league. I think we kind of snuck up on a few teams this year. And I don't think they thought that we would be as competitive as we were. But they're going to see us coming this year, especially with all the attention being paid this offseason to BYU basketball.
And that attention's been tied to all the big money maybe associated with the program. Where is that coming from? What's causing that?
Well, I mean, there's just the way that things work in college basketball right now, and college football, and some of the other Olympic sports are the NIL and through collectives. that's how some of the movement occurs in college basketball, college football. And I think that one of the things that we've tried to do at BYU is to create a real strong culture where you try to keep the players that you have, to retain them, and you do your very best to develop young players and keep them around. But the environment's changed a lot. The landscape's changed, and at BYU we've tried to do the best we can to keep aligned with the mission of our school and what we want to accomplish educationally first, and then athletically. And sometimes people get that out of order around the country. But I mean, we think we can have our cake and eat it too, and go for both of those, simultaneously. We think we can hit all the academic standards and the experiential learning that you have at BYU, and also be really competitive in athletics. So in order to do that, to be competitive, you got to get athletes. And right now, one of the ways that you have to be involved is in the transfer portal, in NIL, and in the collective. And so we're involved and engaged in all those areas.
And when you're in meetings like this in the Big 12, does it kind of ignite even more, or bring more awareness of how much it takes to get to the highest levels in these leagues, like the financial commitment piece?
Sure. I mean, we're all looking at each other across the table from each other, and we're all super competitive, each one of us. There's not one person in that room that's going, I think we're going to sit this one out, or we're not going to go after anybody, or we're not looking at the portal. There's not one school in the Big 12 that's not going full tilt, and everybody wants to go get it. And I think as long as everybody plays by the rules the best they possibly can. There's not a lot of monitoring right now, and there's not a lot of guardrails, but there are still rules, and I think people have to make sure that some of the inducements and stuff that are happening to undergraduates, high school kids and kids at your own or at schools where when people come in during the season outside of the portal, open portals, and mess with players, it's just not right. And we just got around the country, got to police ourselves to make sure that doesn't occur.
Last couple things for you, Tom, before we let you loose. And you heading back to Utah tonight, I assume?
I'll try to get back whenever I can with this weather.
Yeah, it's I got to notice. So it could be settling in then. But how much talk is in these meetings about individual sports, or is it just kind of big picture, like athletics at large? Kind of, do you guys dive into particular sports at all in these meetings?
Sure. A portion of each one of these meetings that we attend in person, and we have many meetings that are on Zoom, are take the time to look at the individual business of each sport. So in the meetings today, we spent time on a few of the individual sports. We're looking at schedules. We're looking at just different strategies and how we can be competitive in the league and across the country. There's a lot of talk about RPI and net and all the measurements that help put you in the tournaments and postseason. So it goes way beyond football and basketball, but those are really the two primary revenue streams, and that's important. It's not the end all, but if you didn't put a lot of strength and effort into those sports, then the other ones wouldn't exist.
Yeah, and I wanted to follow up on that. Since we're at the Big 12 business meetings, how do you feel maybe the business side of BYU football is right now? Like, as far as when you're kind of looking across the room and seeing the other football programs, I know you don't want to necessarily compare, but how do you feel BYU football from a resources standpoint stacks up in the business side?
I think there's a business side. I think it's more of a strategy side. How you do your business, like I said, we don't do our business at BYU like every other school in the country. We're a little peculiar at BYU, and we do it what's best for BYU. So I think when you say the business part of it, there's an administrative part of how you run the programs and how you strategize where football stacks up across the conference and across the country, because that's how we're competing. We're not competing against teams at BYU. We're more competing against teams in the conference and across the country. And I know that you asked that question. I said I've seen a lot of the football players. I've talked to all the coaches. I've seen spring football. I've seen the newcomers. I've seen their mix. I've seen the culture get stronger. And I feel really positive about moving forward with football.
Football is kind of being slept on a little bit as far as on the outside. People are kind of thinking low expectations. What are your expectations for year two?
Well, it reminds me of basketball this year. I think we were picked 12th out of 14 at the beginning, 13 out of 14 at the beginning of the season. And people said that BYU snuck up on them. I don't really think that's sneaking up. I just think that there was a lot of work that had to be done. And there are some key connections and some great development over that last year. And that's what I'm seeing that. I'm hoping that a lot of players have breakout years like they did in basketball last year. And I think we made some changes last year to personnel and the coaching staff, in the support staff, as well as on the team. And I think those changes will bode well for the Cougs.
One more thing. President Shane Reese is here at the meetings. What's your relationship like with President Reese? This is his second time here at the spring business meetings. How does he work and aid with BYU athletics and the mission you guys have?
Well, the way the meetings work is presidents have their separate meetings from the ADs and the SWAs and FARs, but we do get together at certain times. So we spent quite a bit of time in the room with the conference staff, the athletic directors, and the presidents. And there's a lot of it is listening very, very carefully and learning. I don't think that President or I have a lot of things that we want to stand on the table for right now. We just feel really positive about the leadership from Brett Yormark. And then there's some real good comments that are being made, and there's some great conversation. And we, both President and I, are involved in it to the degree that we think we should. But this is a conference, and we're basically here to be a great partner and to make sure that BYU is taking care of the things that we need. And we watch out for ourselves. But most of the conversation is whispering. We sit next to each other for the whole meetings, and a lot of conversation back and forth just to see where we both fit on so many of the issues that are at hand.
Is President Reese, it seems like, he's always at a lot of events, but is he really highly invested into athletics as far as being very wants to share his opinions maybe, or really is always just supportive, of what you guys want to do?
President Reese is a strong supporter of all of our athletics, not just football and basketball, but he also is a very quick learner. So he, in the short time that he's been the president and been in these meetings, he's picked up everything quickly. We have conversations before, during, and after every meeting to just kind of see where those meetings, the temperature's gone in the room, which way strategy is seeming to sway, and where we want to be at BYU in relation to the things that were talked about. So I think it's very strategic for ADs and presidents, but a lot of it is partnership. We both have a great strong feeling that it's a great place to belong in the Big 12, and that we're going to do everything we can to be a great partner. And a lot of that has to do with how President Reese and I do our jobs. He's the president, I'm the AD, and we got to do well for BYU.
But I continued my conversation with Tom Holmoe and asking him about the vibe now with the four corner schools in those Big 12 meetings this week.
I think there's all good vibe because the Big 12, the first year that we're all going into this 16-team league, there's been great transitions. The four teams that came in transitioned Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, Houston, and then transitioned Oklahoma and Texas out. And then the four corner schools came in. So there's been a lot of movement. But I think that transition was really pretty smooth. I think the presidents and the athletic directors, the faculty athletic refs, and the senior women administrators, those are the people that make the votes that run the league with the Big 12 office. Just a lot of hard work has gone into these various transitions. And now you have the other pieces of information out there like the House case, the settlement, continuing issues with NIL, transfer portal, mental health. We've on the tail of COVID. We've dealt with a lot of issues over the last number of years, and I don't think I'm preparing myself for the future of it's athletics. This is how college athletics has been. Not so big of changes and decisions, but athletics is full of changes every day.
How does, you noted the House versus NCAA, how does revenue sharing impact BYU athletics and the idea of paying out $22 million per year to athletes? How does that impact the athletic department?
Well, I think every school in the country will be impacted in a major way by this. But if you really sit back and take a look at it, I think the stability of college athletics, looking back over the last couple of years, last number of years, has been going to a place that was very unstable. And the future of college athletics was going to be very difficult to continue. So this forced settlement, I mean, it was a settlement, but is really actually, I think, in the end, will help change college athletics for the better. There was never a case in my mind where the athletes weren't going to receive more of the revenue. How it was going to come to be, was it going to be pay for play, employees, this settlement, shared revenue? It was going to happen somehow, some way. And so my take on it now is, let's see what we can do in collaboration with starting at BYU, working with the Big 12 Conference, working on the national scene with the NCAA, and see what we can best do to make the future great for college athletics. College athletics has always been a fantastic place. Student athletes' lives, fan bases, the brands for the schools. College athletics is good. And when there's changes that need to be made, you just have to kind of be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Paying out athletes from the past, too, will be a piece to this. I'm curious, since BYU, dating back to the athletes in 2016, since you guys weren't part of a power conference back then, will you have to pay the cost of what power conference teams were from 2016 to 2022?
Yeah, this is a lot of it has to be determined by the courts in conjunction with the settlement. They've given us and you, the media, and the fan base a little bit of a feel for what's out there. But the meetings that start today in the Big 12 will begin this process of figuring this all out. And as we do, we'll reveal the answers to your question.
Is BYU, though, as a school, committed to paying to the cap $22 million potentially?
I think a lot of it has to do with the conference.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to sit, because you can't collude. You can do things at a conference level. You can't do things at a national level. That's what the lawsuit was about.
Yeah.
And so, we're not going to be able to answer questions. And you haven't. I think the first time I've spoke publicly is you can't really answer the questions to get into the details of the settlement and how the conferences look at it. So we're going to have some great conversations today that will go on for months.
There you go. That's BYU Athletic Director Tom Holmoe for my conversation with him at the Big 12 Spring Business Meetings down in Dallas at the Ritz-Carlton. You hear the fancy plates and silverware clinking. It was a good time. You're just seeing Tom eating some ahi tuna.
Oh, boy. Jeez. Come on.
Had a great time. And we're having a great time here at Holiday Oil for Sinclair's first ever Dino Day, 8325 North Burton Drive in Lake Point out west here by Tooele. And we're here with Lauren from Sinclair. You having a good time today, Lauren?
A blast. Why wouldn't I be?
It's a great day. It's Dinosaur Day. And, remind all of our listeners what this event is about, Dino Day with Sinclair.
Yeah, so National Dinosaur Day is a holiday. They have national everything, right? National Donut Day.
Yep.
Well, of course, there's a National Dino Day. And with us having the Dino as our mascot, we have to participate. So we're participating nationwide this year. And it's our first year participating and doing something special for our customers on National Dino Day.
And how do those customers tap into the benefits that you guys are offering them on Dino Day?
They have to have the Dino Pay app, which is super simple and super slick to use. They can come to us. We can answer any questions, help them download it, help them set it up. Or if they already have it, they get all of their discounts and all of the incentives of Dino Day through the app. So it's 10 cents off every gallon nationwide every day. And then today, because of National Dino Day, it is 30 cents off every gallon of premium gas.
That's fantastic. Why not take advantage of that, Mitch?
You got to take advantage of it. Top-tier premium-grade fuel with the Dino Pay app, so you don't want to miss it. And, come by, too, if you just want to come say hi. We've got a bunch of gear. We got looks like some dinosaur figurines, and you can take some pictures with the dinosaur mascot as well.
Yeah, he's here, and we don't bring him out very often. So
it's
significant.
Yeah, it's fun to have him here. He's actually here, and he's wanting to take pictures. We're a little slow right now, so he's a little lonely. So come see him.
Come see us, 8325 North Burton Drive here in Lake Point, just right outside Tooele.
I-80 West, take the Tooele exit, and you'll see us.
You can't miss us. Come say hello, and if you're a BYU fan, even better, we got stuff for you as well. So, got to take a break. We'll keep going here. Cougar Sports Saturday, powered by KSLSports.com.